3 o'clock, Thursday, 3 p.m. We are back in session. Who do we got? Justin, Audrey, and Daniel Ivy Soto.
Take it away.
Take it away. Where's your screen?
All right, everybody ready to dive back in? Here we go.
Sharing my screen now. So just before I jump into it, I just want to thank everybody for coming back here on this Thursday afternoon to kind of finalize the last few steps of the interim budget approval here. And I just thank all the department heads for—
Justin, you need to blow it up.
Yes, sir.
And we can barely hear you.
Okay, I'll try to project.
There we go.
All right. And I was just saying, I want to thank also the department heads. I worked with a lot of them yesterday to look at their budgets a little bit more closely, and several of the department heads that did come through with some of the requested cuts. And I think what's remaining here are just a few more approvals that we need from the commission to some of the other departments, especially to personnel related cuts. And the other area that we can discuss is also the road department. I did take a close look at their leased equipment yesterday. I looked at all the contracts for those, and what I found is that there are two contracts, and these are very large, expensive contracts that are expiring here. One in July and another in September of this year. So a decision needs to be made on whether to renew those, which will come at an increased cost, or to potentially purchase some of the equipment, which is now 5 years old at this point. So that equipment has an expected life of around 10 to 12 years. So it has 5 to 7 years left of useful life on those road graders. And that's 5 of the 6 road graders within the county that are whose leases are expiring in the next few months. But I'll recap kind of where we're at right now. I'll direct you to this cell right here. The current deficit in the general fund is right around 900,000. And if I scroll over to the right here, as we went over on the last commission meeting, we do have the department level allocated amounts for the deficits. These have changed just slightly since the last draft that was disseminated at the end of the day, Tuesday or early Wednesday morning. And that was just because I'd not given credit to the manager's office for removing the grant writer position. And that change then got allocated to the other departments. So if you see a difference, that's why. So this same number, 897, is coming from these various departments. I've highlighted them in orange, those that still require some amount to be addressed. So in the road department here, there's about $100,000 it's saying in cuts still to be made. And I think that the discussion of the road leases will really be pertinent to that amount. And I'll go over a few other ones here. Maintenance. I did not hear back from the maintenance department. I went through the maintenance line items myself and I cut them around 40%. There are a lot of recurring contracts which can't be reduced for things such as alarm systems and other recurring maintenance contracts. So I didn't want to cut any further without further discussion. But there were some one-time expenses in the prior year, like $40,000 for painting, for example. So some non-recurring amounts I did cut in those amounts. In the clerk's office, this morning I got $17,000 in cuts to operating expenditures in those funds. It's a little short of target. The clerk was hesitant to cut any further because she believes that the remaining amounts are necessary for them to fulfill their statutory duties. I do have a comment in the notes section off to the right to that effect.
Is that
Yeah.
accurate? Mean something?
What's,
They increased that.
what's the number?
Until they increased it.
Justin, do we have this available to send to us? Or has it been sent?
Yes, it's been sent.
Is 4,521.
I did send out a version of this last night.
Okay,
Yeah, it's on.
thank you.
And there are like two small changes.
Can you blow that up again,
Yes.
please? You shrunk
There.
as you went.
Thank
There
you.
There you go. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Thank you. Don't hesitate to ask me if I accidentally zoom out again. All right,
Okay.
and so I'm going to keep running through these just to
Oh.
kind of give the broad
4,000.
overview summary, and then we can dig into the specific amounts.
14 on there, 4 on here.
So there are a couple of departments where during the last commission meeting, the commission had commented that they believed personnel needed to be reduced. I have not reflected that on the budget or salary schedule. So we had 2 on the assessor's office, 1 for treasurers, and I believe 2 more for detention center. So five total that have potential reductions in force, which have not been reflected in the budget. And I just want the commission's approval before going that last step and reducing those. There were some comments that I know went out yesterday from treasurers and possibly assessors, just making their own last minute plea to treasurers, for example, is just making an argument that they're a revenue profit center for the county. They collect the property tax money, and the treasurer believes that all personnel are necessary in order to fulfill those duties. So that argument has been made, and I believe you guys, the commissioners, received a copy of that via email. And so those 5 personnel, and then the road department, I believe once those items are addressed, that would bring the deficit really close to the targets that we are discussing on Tuesday. So with that said, I'll open it up to any questions, or if we want to dive into any of the numbers, I'm happy to do that now.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to go through each department again to see where those cuts occurred. This way to see we're not gutting the department to try to save positions in doing the operation budget and gutting that.
Yes, we can do that. I think we can just go through the tabs here. And columns O and P kind of give the big picture here for each department. So I think we can look at these numbers first and then go into the individual tabs. So starting with the manager's office, we had removed open positions for the grant writer, the indigent assistant position, and then we had moved 50% of one position over to the maintenance department. And finally, we also eliminated overtime that had been budgeted in that department of, I believe, $10,000.
And just interrupting real quick, in the county manager's office, commissioners, we have 2 positions that are shared. We have one that's with lodger's tax and one with solid waste. And in order for us to cut budget and make budget, I'm, I guess, proposing that we combined the lodgers and the lodgers and the solid waste, combining those into one position. And whoever the other individual will be would be have the option to transfer within maintenance, detention, or you'd figure it out.
Yeah. And where does that put that line item, Justin? On budget?
That puts us, we're good. We're no longer having to cut. But that also, Justin, that does include those additional cuts I've presented for professional services and IT, correct?
I would have to check that to be sure.
Okay.
But in addition to the payroll, there are $100,000 in cuts to other operating expenditures that are showing.
Were they recent, just recent cuts, Commissioner Trujillo?
No, they were a while back. So yeah, so it is professional service, IT services. And then my postage and mailing services, it should not be 7. I think solid waste was using those, or other departments have been using the manager's mailing code. So we're looking into that now. But I don't believe it should be $7,000.
Yeah, so we've reflected a cut down to $4,000 in the current budget. And if these line items match your expectation, the highlights represent lines that I've changed here recently. So
11,522 under budget in accordance.
Yes.
Okay.
So the manager's office cut more than necessary. If you go back to the summary.
I'll take it back to the, I didn't know I was gonna cut that much. I was just trying to cut what was required on there.
Yeah,
So but the 11,000 is not gonna be, if I had to put that back in, I'd put it back into IT services, but I'd probably just leave it there because right now it's the way it'll adjust the other departments. So,
Yeah. Well,
So, and I actually skipped the county commission department. So going back to that one, right now we have $106,000 in cuts. I did deduct the change in the attorney fees from that because I had shifted to payroll expenditures. So this is the tab for the commission. And you can see it is much lower already than the prior year, but that's largely due to, where is it, the attorney fees right here, 100,000 reduction. So it's about $150,000 reduction from prior year after adding back that 100,000.
I think Justin, we did take some from IT services on that, the remaining, or was that not needed for commission?
IT services, yeah. So you can see there's a, what is that, $35,000 reduction to IT services.
Okay. And commissioners, what I've done with the commission and my recommendations on the commission and the managers is I looked at fiscal year 23 and 24 and tried to pick the lower of those numbers. And we just have to keep to it.
And that remind me, Commissioner Trujillo, does that number include the contracted services for the current individual who's performing contractual IT services?
It should, yes.
So I think that's probably pretty close. His contract probably makes up the majority of that number, I would say.
I think, well, with that number there, I don't think that would be his. I mean, I'd say it makes up less than half, but I think the big cost of that's going to be the firewall and the Microsoft Azure.
Mm-hmm.
I could be incorrect.
Sounds right.
So do we need to cut any more from commission? Or where does that stand?
Right now it does show a
5,000.
balance here of $5,000.
Okay,
But initially, we were looking at $1,500 more. I have snipped here
and that's where I had pulled the commission number from, or the manager's number from, so. So let's go back and look where we're gonna cut from the commission. Commissioners, I would say mileage and per diem. If we choose to attend New Mexico County events or anything else, it'd be. Or. Maybe professional services. I'm not sure what else would be paid out of.
Split it between the two.
Yeah.
So I think we were discussing, do we want to do half of the new number here or just base it off the
Nope.
old number of 1,500?
In my opinion, we need to be at a balanced budget, so we'll go off the 5,000, whatever, 5,550.
Okay, so 2,750. So professional services. How much do we think we can reduce the mileage down to?
What did you say what's the remaining balance? 2,000 what?
2,750.
Okay, I'd say divide that amongst two and then spread that out between mileage and per diem. Wherever you put that extra dollar, doesn't matter.
1,500.
Maybe $1.
Wouldn't leave a lot left.
Stay on.
I think I can reduce this line a little bit.
Yeah. I'd agree.
Just call it 2,000. Yeah, that's within $500. Drug testing, 37 or no more.
No more on that.
Or,
Do refunds and reimbursements some more. Drop at the remaining balance.
okay, so that's it. We're good now.
We're balanced with commission. Okay. Thank you. Commissioners, is that all right with you? Sorry, I just kind of went crazy there.
I'll pull it back up.
Oh, oh, cool. Commissioner Kern,
I'm fine with that one.
okay, next.
Talked about commission managers, library fund, no changes.
I'd like to go back to the managers.
Yes.
And I know you considered combining duties and everything, but I mean, it's not set in stone, but you're asking one of the employees to move that has seniority off of somebody over somebody else in that department.
But
So
the commission would have to choose, or the manager would have to choose on the viability of, it's within policy that seniority is taken into factor, but the other necessity of a position.
I'm very aware of that. I just wanted to make sure it's pointed out.
I understand.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking is that there are half of positions as well.
It depends on the distribution of duties, I guess, but yeah.
So is the percentage of lodger's tax figured into this budget that pays salary?
Only the half that comes out of, and Justin would have to confirm that on his side of the payroll, that half of the one individual comes out of solid waste and the other half comes out of commission or managers.
I
And
can confirm.
What I
that as
recommended was as a county manager to reduce that number. So I look to the commission to make the decision on what you would prefer to see.
To reduce what number? I'm sorry.
Excuse me?
Well, you still got it tracking with Mr. Muniz. I mean, as long as it's accounted for, as far as we're concerned here, but it's not where it needs to be.
Justin, can you confirm that or make those adjusted so we could see them?
So currently the maintenance, one individual was moved to be 50% maintenance, 50% lodger's tax, like you said, and that is reflected in the current budget that we're looking at.
It wouldn't be 50% maintenance and 50% lodger's tax.
No.
Yeah, and
It'd be 100% maintenance and then 50%
Yes.
the lodger's tax allotment.
It'd be
would
none
go
out
over
of-
to the manager's department.
Yeah.
Stay with the manager's department, not go over to, but stay there.
Justin,
Okay, so that would need to be changed then. Right now it's 50% maintenance, 50% lodgers. So I can move the lodgers portion over to managers.
is that right?
Yes.
that's correct.
And that would be that half would be 26,748.
Correct.
Yeah.
As of now.
I'll pencil that in now as we're talking here.
Okay. While he's penciling in, Michael?
I was just wondering, because as of this whole time, I've been getting paid out of fully solid waste as of the 27th. So I was wondering if we could go have me get paid fully out of lodger's tax, being that I wasn't getting paid out of this whole year since I took over lodger tax. I don't know if that's something you guys could look into. I don't know if it'll help.
Miss Abby, looking you.
So what happened was when he took over for, I believe it was Tina's position back in, was it August? July. So he was never switched over from, because he was getting paid just out of solid waste. He never got switched over from solid waste to half managers and half lodgers tax. So we actually never found that out until maybe a few months ago, I think it was.
Yeah, I brought it up.
Yeah, so when he came back, now I switched him, or he's half out of lodgers and half managers. So we fixed the solid waste part.
Yeah,
So
so
that
I
would just-
talked to Leroy about doing a journal entry to correct all that because it hadn't been pulled from the lodger's tax budget.
And that would actually increase our deficit within the manager's office.
Yes, it will. And you're still within target with that change.
Okay.
Mr.
Julie?
Chairman,
Yes.
just a couple things real quick. First of all, while I recognize that there are funds that come in through lodger's tax and there are funds that come in through solid waste, and other things of that nature, all those funds actually get deposited into the general fund. And so, I mean, we just need to be clear. No one actually gets paid out of lodger's tax. That's not a segregated fund.
And
Nobody gets paid out of solid waste. All those all that's getting deposited into the general fund, just like when I go and make if I make a deposit over at the treasurer's office, that goes to the general fund. If I do copies or over at the clerk's office, that goes to the general fund, or also if I record a document, a percentage of that goes to the general fund. So let's I mean, right. So while it's nice to kind of try to track some of these things, ultimately there's funds going into the general fund, and then there's how we pay for stuff out of the general fund in general. The other thing is, I just do want to remind everybody that we are live streaming this, and this is going to be archived. To the extent that we can talk about the position titles as opposed to the names, I think that is preferred unless there's confusion on that.
Okay. Did you have something to say, Julie, or no? Okay.
And at this time, just state Michael, or the solid waste coordinator, or the lodger's tax coordinator, asked if his pay could come out of the solid waste. I don't believe there are sufficient funds within the solid waste to cover an allocation out of the bookkeeping side of that.
Correct. Right now, the solid waste fund is in balance, and actually it's receiving a very small subsidy from the general fund. So any increase to expense would just increase the operating transfer from general fund to solid waste in the fund accounting. So it wouldn't really have a net positive impact to the bottom line.
And just a reminder as well that only 10% of lodger's tax receipts can be used for administrative uses.
Yeah.
The rest has to be used for promotional and non-promotional expenses through the fund. So it's not like we could take a whole position out of there, because we only draw in about 250,000 a year. So.
I've made all the required changes to both the budget and salary schedule, so I think we can move forward.
And Justin, just to clarify, you did update the maintenance there, removing that from maintenance.
Okay, so I might need clarification. So 50% comes from manager's office, and where does the other 50% come from?
Lodger's tax.
I thought it was 50% managers and 50% maintenance.
No.
Okay.
No. It's backed out of maintenance. Nothing goes into maintenance.
Okay. I will make that change while we're talking about other things here. But right now it is in managers, so I'll just have to fix maintenance. Library fund doesn't need any further changes. So next is the maintenance department. I'll pull that up now. We had made no changes to payroll for that other than what we just discussed, and operating expenditures have currently been cut by $96,000. So this is the maintenance tab. You see these 3 notes that I have here. These were the changes that I made myself as recommended changes. I looked at the GL history for each of these lines and kind of got a rough idea of what was recurring contracts for things like alarm systems and other maintenance contracts, and what was non-recurring expenditures like the painting. So I cut $65,000 from building maintenance. No, sorry, 5,000 from building maintenance, 65 from professional services, and 3,000 additional from janitorial supplies to bring that consistent with the trend here. So that's where things stand currently. Overall, it's 5% less than last year's amount, after we add in, the additional health insurance. It'll be $27,000 less, once I remove the 50% allocation for the one position.
How much more do we need to cut?
So it's 82.
83,000.
Yeah, but minus the 27,000. So let me give an exact number here.
So it'd be over 100. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, other direction.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, no, it'll reduce because we're moving expenditures out. So it's actually going to be that amount, 56,224. Out of the way.
Even if you reduce that by one employee, you're still gonna be 10,000 short.
Yeah.
Is that what it turns out with the benefits?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The last one in.
And I think there might be difficulties keeping up with all of the maintenance as it is.
Right.
Professional services, is that the snow removal and mowing?
No, that we never moved forward with that because that would be roughly 70,000. So that was not factored in from my understanding.
Okay, do we know what that is, Justin?
We can pull up the GL history and we can kind of look at it together if you give me a second.
Okay,
That's kind of what I'm thinking is we cut majority out of that. And maybe building maintenance some more just to, and hope to God we don't have anything, but if we do, then it could be it's not a reoccurring expense. It'd be hopefully a one-time expenditure.
Yeah, I think just an example of one thing that's expensive that runs through there that I saw was HVAC. Anytime HVAC needs to be repaired, that's $10,000 a pop essentially if you have to replace a unit. And that in a county of your size, that happens somewhat frequently.
Just the maintenance on what needs to be done at the courts building is gonna eat that up.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe we could pull some of that out of capital if we have to, if we're gonna have the major HVAC replacements or something.
So you could probably back out Honeyfield, Red Wing Electric.
Can't back out Red Hawk. That's monitoring system.
Oh, that is.
So there's Red Hawk and Red Wing are two separate vendors here.
Wing.
I think those were one time. So that's like 10,000. Mozart, you could back that out. Cause that was the judicial center as a one-time thing.
what else do you see in there, Justin, because this is just
This is one
July and
tab, so
August.
we can add up. You said the 2012 times 2 plus the 4070 from Red Wing. Anything else on this tab?
To get Mozart.
No. So
And I'd probably say the VMD or the Burco chemical for the disposal. That was a one-time occurring. Right above that. Yep. Garbage disposal at the jail.
Go to the next page here. So there's probably gonna be 4 or 5 pages.
All that looks reoccurring. Is that right, Fred?
Protection.
Said Everon's a reoccurring expense, right?
With major
Yeah.
control, Hebron.
A&M repair, but that's 1,600.
Yeah. You could probably, yeah, remove A&M repair. The sheriff is allocating a vehicle with this, so.
Okay, you got that? Anything else on this page?
Not that
No.
I see.
All right, next page. This is the painting I was talking about, so I'll add that to the amount.
Yeah, you could take out Honeyfield and Archuleta Construction as well. Those two were one-time expenditures.
Got those two?
Still gonna have repairs.
Yeah, I'd leave those other Mozarks there just in case. About the broken water line. Yeah, that was a one-time ordeal.
Got it. All right, I'll go to the next page here.
I mean, what's the blower motor? Is that at the, for Mozark? Is that at the judicial?
DA.
Take that one out.
Next page.
Place water lines in courtroom. Take that out. I'd say, Warden, are you gonna have any more broken beds? I'd leave that one probably. I don't know, commissioners?
I don't know, that would be breaking beds.
It could happen.
They pull them off the wall.
Okay.
And we can remove it if you don't think we'll have nothing. Go ahead and remove that one, Justin.
Move it.
Got it. Go to the next page here.
Green.
And this is the last page. So the grand total there was just over 87,000. We tallied from non-recurring and let's see, what were we at? As of right now, there's 150. So if we took 150 minus 87, I mean, I think bare bones would be 63,000. Well, that's so 150 is for sorry, it's for 11 months. So around 77,000 is kind of the bare bones number there. If the internal maintenance individuals handle the majority of the maintenance themselves, essentially, I think is what we're saying here.
We need a minimum of 77,000 in that line item.
Yes.
Okay, so if we drop it to 80. So
An additional 20,000, where I have it right now.
20, so we still have to cut 30.
Take a look at this line, it's already down 40–50% from prior year. But you can see from these, you know, in FY24, for example, only 34,000 was spent.
What's the average of the three?
56,000.
So that's only dropping at 4.
Yep.
That still leaves 6. No, that's more, that's
Least
16.
56. You drop it 4,000.
So I'll put this to 56,000 for now based on the average. That's another 4,000. So it's actually 32,000 remaining. The target, get a number in here so it will show. It's about the number we're aiming for there.
You want 30? Why is the maintenance on the vehicle at 5?
It can probably be reduced a little bit.
2?
So it's an additional 3,000. So
That's the pickup we're
Need tires?
replacing, correct?
You need tires?
Sheriff?
if something extraordinary happens, they can you can always do a bar. There's also overtime. Can that be exchanged in lieu of comp time potentially?
County doesn't currently have a comp time policy. I would like to see it develop one and include it in our personnel policy.
Mhm.
But I believe so, yes. And
I think we, if the commission concurs, we can make that change here and follow up later with the policy change.
I think that's fair.
drop to 2,500. Just in case, or take it away. Where's that put it?
Also, so that's an additional, it's probably 8,000 because that also feeds into the taxes. But so you're at about, that doesn't feed into these numbers here. Brings you down to about 21.
Whoever is speaking, we cannot hear you. Those of us who are remote, please go to the microphone.
They said possibly they were discussing the on-call pay.
If we take off the 4,000 off the on-call pay,
Mhm.
we can go back to as need basis. Instead of having somebody on call 24/7.
So I hate saying this. I mean, we're still chipping away at there's smaller amounts. We're still at to cut 20. I don't see anywhere else we're gonna be able to cut 20 unless we cut more from maintenance on the building.
Our
That-
buildings are falling apart when
Yeah.
we're spending what we're spending now. I
I
don't see
know.
how, I don't see
Well,
how.
I'm throwing that out there as if we're gonna cut that, it's either we're cutting an individual to make up that 20,000. Cause even if we cut that 4,000 on call, we're still gonna be 16,000 short. 16.
It is pretty
Just-
frustrating
just to-
because, oh, sorry.
That's great. Just real quick, Justin, are you reflecting the split for the salary of that one position?
I deduct from the current amounts that we're looking at, so that has been reflected.
Okay.
I was just gonna say it's pretty frustrating because the activity is still needed, you know, on a lot of these positions. I mean, it's not like the county has gotten rid of buildings or, you know, the revenue's gone down, but the buildings are still there, so it's very frustrating.
I think if you want to get it cut to zero, the only way you're going to do that is to eliminate the open position. And if you did that, whatever the balance was, I'd put it back into his maintenance.
So the open position is a savings of $69,300. And that would put us above target.
So I'd say close that open position and then put that additional funds back into building maintenance and professional services, whatever
What I
that,
just,
You know, we can borrow it out from there.
I'll give me 1 minute, I'll make those changes. So you want to put maybe half to building maintenance, half to professional services?
1 second, Commissioner Kern.
I'd put it all into maintenance. We could do a bar if we have to. I'd put it all into maintenance.
Okay.
Building.
I'd just leave that position there and freeze it, just zero it out and just freeze it.
Leave it in place, zeroed out, frozen.
That's done.
Is that a positive 25,000? Are you still working that?
Yeah, it's that's about close to the right number there. So I can add that back.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's like. That's 25,000.
think it's the building maintenance close to back where it was before, with most of the reduction coming to professional services. There are no further questions. I'm gonna move forward to the next.
I will, what was the total before we move on? $6, okay, that's fine. I got it.
I would request that we move to solid waste real quick, just to look at that. We have the manager's office here, and this way they could get back to their duties.
Solid waste tab is up. Currently, we project revenues to exceed expenditures by just over $2,000, so it's pretty close to being in balance.
Justin, how much of that is segregated statutorily into a separate fund, or is that all general fund?
So it is a enterprise fund. It's entirely segregated from the general fund. It does receive general fund subsidy. Last year that was 300,000. In the current year, that has been reduced to 167,000 as kind of the budgeted amount for the operating transfer in from general fund.
Did we pick up the contract increase on that we discussed?
So probably not. We got the a 40% increase, which was for FY25, but we did not add in an additional, whatever it is, 5%, I think is what we were estimating it to be, but I have not looked at that contract and added the 5%.
Danielle, do you remember?
Is it going?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Audrey.
I'm sorry, I was probably gonna just ask the same thing. Is it certain that it's increasing for FY26 5%? If so, we need to add it in.
I don't think the exact percent is known, just that there is some sort of percent built into that contract.
Can we hold that and ask a staff member to pull that contract real quick to see what that increase is? Huh? Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And I'll just point out that's really this line item we're talking about. Projected ending was 725 and we are at 750, so we might already be at a fairly good estimate there, or maybe 760. So 725 times 5%, so we'd have to add 10,000.
And if this is an enterprise fund, why are we subsidizing it to the tune of 167,000 plus?
It's a good question. So enterprise funds should be have their rates built in such a way to not require subsidy.
People are not paying.
Yeah,
Yeah, Daniel, we use we had enacted years ago the environmental tax, and that subsidizes this because
Right.
it was enacted solely for the purpose of solid waste.
So that is where that money is coming from. Yes, the environmental GRT.
well, we've had a lot of people that haven't paid their bill.
Yes, so exploring collections and liens might help improve the bottom line here as well.
Last I heard, there's at least 300 that had over or close to $1,000 in balance. So there's 300,000.
300.
But that's just a number. We have issues with Triadic to print those reports on Tuesday, so I don't know if that's been corrected.
We ever gonna get attic straight?
Well, Justin, since we're waiting,
Mhm.
I see like miscellaneous appropriations. Is that good to go? And like senior centers, those two ones that we've already worked on.
I don't think any further changes need to be made to that. I put the tabs in green if I believe that there were no further changes. I had that one in green.
Danielle, go ahead and grab the mic. You don't have to stand there unless you want to, but
It looks like for Arthur, we pay them, the yearly rate is $532, $296.
There wasn't an increase. I thought it was an annual increase.
This is,
Might be
It-
before tax as well.
mhm. I'm not seeing where it increases every year. I'd have to go through the whole thing. Do you want to just look at it?
Yeah. Well, everybody else talks.
I'm pulling up that account just so we can see where it's at today.
Is column F actuals for FY25?
Column F is actuals through March 31st.
Got it.
So we projected out, yeah, divided by 75 essentially. It should be
Right.
pretty readable because it's a monthly.
Yep.
So through today,
get a
it's 660,000.
every time they dump the skids or the.
Yeah, it would, I'm sure that would come out to about 725,000.
Yeah, so it's right around there.
Danielle, don't we get a charge by pound every time they dump the roll-offs? Also,
I believe we do. We get charged, is it per roll-off and per tonnage, I believe?
okay,
Yes, sir.
all right, I thought so. I just wanted to clarify.
It was a heck of a jump between 24 and 25.
There was a 40% rate raise during that time frame.
Different contractor.
Yes, different contractor due to the old one was not doing their job. And it was a total wreck.
I'm not finding it. I could have swore it went up 5% every year, but. Right, 72, 96. It was 26.6.
Move on. Yellow's everything, you know, already cut.
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, the yellow highlights are the cuts that were made this morning. There were $17,000 in cuts between all the yellow highlight items from where they were yesterday.
Okay.
Justin, can you make it a little bit bigger?
Yes.
Sorry.
We all need bifocals.
Something, 'cause
So we'll start. I'll just show the clerk recording fund, and then we can look at election when you're ready. Most of the cuts are coming from IT services. Go ahead, Commissioner.
You've already cut one salary from there.
yes.
Okay. Just double checking. Uh, 14,000.
So I just want to make note, that did increase, that did increase to 14,000 because of the increase from the manager's office, on that grant writer credit. So I was not working, expecting that.
I didn't know about that too. So,
That increased all of our debt.
Yeah.
well, I didn't know about that, so
Yeah.
it was a mistake that was caught on Jack's part.
Yeah, cause it threw me off here. I thought we were.
Okay, Justin, sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
Go ahead, Justin.
Okay, so the majority of the cuts came from the IT service line item in the clerk recording fund, and as you said, we already did cut a position. You can see a lot of these numbers are a little lower. That came out of savings of 65,000. For the Bureau of Elections fund, most of that is static in the Secretary of State expenditures grant. So there's not a lot of opportunity to cut these remaining line items. But there were some small cuts made to supplies, mileage per diem. Training has increased due to some required training, and printing and publishing has a slight reduction as well. And capital outlay is reduced.
Is capital outlay like a grant or something along those lines where it's a reimbursement?
In the prior year, I believe that was grant expenditures. Is that correct, clerk?
Yeah, I think that was for like a C-can, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
So, and then that might cover your shortfall in that. In the election side, if you just remove that, because that's not anticipated again. Cause right, wasn't your shortfall like $1,000 or something on the elections?
Well, originally it was, after everything we cut, it was 1,700, but with this increase, it increased it to 2,521.
No, and that's still plenty enough to cover, cause unless you have that grant again this year, that's not gonna count.
No, we expanded it.
Yeah, so then you could remove that and that balances out that fund.
Okay.
It's actually giving a surplus. So Justin, you probably get that surplus.
Okay, so that's 4,400 I'm removing right here. Okay. So that cut is made, and just comparing, well, I suppose, so revenues there was $50,000 in revenues on the general fund revenues tab for this.
It's just a net effect of 0. So Justin, can you go back to the summary and show where they're at? They should be taken care of.
Yeah, they're still a little bit below target, but I honestly don't see where else any cuts could be made.
And you already talked earlier today about why that number changed, right? So
I did.
yeah, that's, I
I'm
think,
sorry, the budgets are hard to prevent from being moving targets.
No, it's understandable that something like that would occur. So it's,
Yeah, I was completely working off.
I was just making it as a comment as an acting county manager. I did not know about that mistake when I was in this, and that's why when I had cut prior, I had cut up to the 86,000 what it was.
Vice Chair, anything? Okay, we're at 14,683. Go to the next department, please.
Next is assessors.
And is the clerk. And we are.
Okay, and my comment on assessors before I move forward here, the assessor did send me some additional cuts just prior to this meeting via email. So those are not reflected. I can pull it up and we can go over her recommended additional cuts right now.
oh, Justin, can you make it bigger? And
Yeah.
on my end, I can barely hear you. I have my volume all the way up. I'm not sure if you have a different mic or something.
No, my mic volume's all the way up, so I'll just speak louder. Hopefully this is a little bit better.
I think just being a little closer helped. Thank you so much.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was leaning back a little bit.
That might be
All right.
it.
I'll so let me pull up her I do have her email here and we can just do this live.
Do we have the assessor with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, hi there.
Hi.
Okay. So it's gonna be hard to do this on one screen, but so we do have, it looks like $6,500 in cuts to operating expenditures on the assessor's fund, and then there's a separate page here for the property valuation, the 1% fund. And not seeing a total here, but we'll make them now. We'll see where it lands. So I'm gonna put it on another screen just so I can do that more quickly. You can see me make the changes. Let's see. 8,000.
Something I said?
Maybe me, I don't know.
Okay, so that's accurate. So I'll move to the next tab. So I think that's it. So I'm just going to highlight the numbers that were changed, and we can look at the net effect. Okay, going back to the summary tab here, that brings them down to 121,000. And so the next point of order here is to discuss whether personnel can be cut per last commission meeting.
And I want to do one more. Can we go through each line to make sure we have the right? Because I did go through it a little more.
Yeah, so I have the assessors open right now.
Yes.
Take a look and let me know if I got everything.
Okay, do we got numbers? Huh? Oh, okay.
Justin, that one's okay.
Okay. And on the next tab, let me zoom in a notch for you. Sorry, let me freeze. Okay. Let me know if that's good for you.
So vehicle maintenance, you can take down to 1,000.
That's what I have.
Yeah,
Okay.
service and supplies. Yeah.
Employee training, you can take down to 1,000.
And is there any required training coming up for individuals here soon?
No, we checked and we're good.
Thank you.
And that's it.
So we're still at we're 121,000 is the target amount remaining to be cut.
And I just want to specify that our office did take in the E911. Just want to let everyone know that. And I apologize Monday that I wasn't ready for this. I didn't know we were in a deficit because we were working on protests. My 2 appraisers are very important to my office. I know you guys said we have 5 appraisers, but we have some that go out in the field. Me and Joe, we do the administration. We are appraising every day, looking over our appraisers. Just wanted to let you know that. Since I've been the assessor, we have increased the taxable value every year. And even with the veterans, it's going to increase this year. We had over 150 protests, and that's what we've been taking care of. That's why I wasn't prepared for this. And I didn't know we were in a deficit. But I just want you to know our office makes the money for the county. And if we weren't out appraising, taxable value wouldn't go up, property values wouldn't go up.
Madam Assessor, I did inform you that we were in a deficit. I informed every department head.
Well, I've been busy with protests. Maybe I
That's
just missed it. I'm not sure.
I just want,
We have been swamped with protests. This is our busy season. I also have certification coming up. So I apologize.
no, you're fine.
This.
Justin, can I make a quick request?
Yeah.
Since we're done with maintenance down there, you mind making that tab green? Or
Oh,
maybe
yes.
commission green, so we know we got
Mhm.
those completed. Sorry, it's my OCD.
I was just thinking the same thing.
We're at 100.
I have one more question. Is that okay to ask?
Yeah.
If there are layoffs, could you please tell me is it by seniority, probation? You know, I've read this policy, but is it by seniority?
It will be by seniority too, but if you have someone that is a critical need person, you'll need to make that call on in my opinion, as a department head, if that person is critical to having to keep but you'd have to choose. And Daniel, you could correct me if I'm wrong on that. Department. And again, Daniel, or go ahead.
Are you sure on that? Like if they've transferred from one department to another one? As long as they've been with the county? I don't.
Oh, yes. No, I'm saying.
Their total count, their time with the county.
Correct.
As long as
Yeah.
there has not been a break in service.
Correct.
If there's been a break in
Yeah.
service, then they start over.
Yeah. Is my misunderstanding on that. I was thinking if it's, you know what I mean, each department, so. Cause if we just did it by seniority, we would got a department if it was all within, yeah.
Correct.
Good, thank you, Dan.
You know, it turns my stomach to have to say to say it, but I don't see any other way than to a reduction in force. It's not what I want to do. It's not what any of us want to do. But I don't see any other way.
No, I agree. So, since we did, I would like to hold off, just since we held off on the clerks, let's hold off on the assessors. Let's go to the treasurers in the Vajil Maldonado, see what those play out, get the final numbers, and then we go back and then eliminate the positions to make a balanced budget.
I have the treasurer's department up currently. And there's only just $38,000 currently in total operating expenditures, and the remaining amount is $393,000 in payroll expenditures. So it's a very payroll heavy department.
One thing on ours about the full-time positions line item, I know it had happened with the clerks too, where the elected official was being paid out of the full-time. And I did talk to Danielle about it, but I haven't seen an actual change made in that line item for us. And so I don't know if you base, your number there using that number where my pay was still coming out of it also or not, but if you could maybe double check that as something.
It is inclusive of the first line here is the elected official line. So,
And so the other one wasn't calculated based off of like what we were paying out, because I see you have it through March 31st there. From January to April, my pay was coming out of full-time positions, not elected officials.
right. So I didn't base any of these numbers off of the trend analysis or the
Okay.
actuals over to the left. They're based on the salary schedule.
Okay.
And with the exception of probate, this is our most bare bones department.
Yes,
Operational expense goes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
yeah, and I also want to just bring up too, I mean, if we're gonna talk of us losing a staff member, we're with the clerk's current cut and then the administration side of the assessors, we're already, with the elected deputy and 3 employees. So we're even with all the administration side elected officials now. To cut an employee from us would put us 1 down. And I mean, we are a main revenue source for the county.
I would like to leave them right now too and
How
continue
much
on.
over are we on that one?
They're what, 80? Even if we cut them,
80.
their last employee that came in, they're still gonna be
Half.
30,
Yeah,
half of that in the hole.
would be 14 and 30. Thousand. Okay. Okay.
Let's go to the jail, Justin.
Do you want to do the jail or sheriff's is next, just on the rows here?
He's in the green, that's.
The sheriff was, and I thank the sheriff for taking a close look at his budget. It does, this number, to get to the half reduction, did include 2 reductions in force. And those were open positions.
Say something.
So
Those-
that achieved 200,000 by eliminating 2 open positions, 1 sergeant, 1 deputy.
No, I sent the revised salary schedule. I have my sergeant positions full. I have 2 officers. But I did not send in the request to cut positions.
So I backed into that because I'd compared the last salary schedule from last year to the current salary schedule that you provided. And those 2 positions had been removed. So that was an assumption on my part.
But that one of those positions was removed to give the pay increase.
Yes, sir.
That we reallocated.
Yeah.
That was reallocated, the salary portion and the
So the
benefits. were
2
moved back.
open positions.
We have 2
still
open
there.
deputy positions.
Okay.
Okay, so just to clarify, are we supposed to still be showing 2 open positions?
Yes.
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 And Justin, are we still showing 2 open positions?
So the salary schedule that was provided to me yesterday by the sheriff had 2 fewer positions on it than at the beginning of this process. So if those need to be added back, I can do that, certainly.
One of those that was taken out was the one that was reallocated. The other position was trying to remember now. One was reallocated for just the salary for the increase that was just approved. The other position hadn't been refilled. And that left us with 2.
So it should be 1 reduction to deputy sheriff, and I can add back the sergeant position to the salary schedule.
The one I sent you has both sergeants in it.
I can confirm that, just if you bear with me a second here.
I'm showing 15. Is that correct? Total?
We should have, what's that?
With the 2 open positions?
Yes.
Be 50.
That's what I have.
So on the salary schedule you sent to me, there is only one sergeant listed. So I think that's just an error. I can add that back.
So we need to add a sergeant back.
Yes, and that would be it's about 120,000 for the sergeant position, fully loaded.
Okay.
And
Have
while
to
we're,
do both
while we're
sides.
looking at these, I can make the changes up here, but we'll take a look at the cuts that were made to the operating expenditures here.
You make it bigger.
Yes.
Go over a bit. Oh, okay. So it was just those. So what you highlighted in yellow is what was cut.
Correct.
Okay.
Should be one deputy and one sergeant, correct? In open.
On the salary. On the salary schedule that I sent you yesterday,
Mhm.
line number 6. That is the correct pay for a sergeant. It's just that the title, I missed that. That
Okay.
deputy should be a sergeant.
We'll make that change now. So let me recap just so I can be 100% on the same page. So they're on your salary schedule, we're showing looks like 15 total positions.
Correct.
And is that meaning that 2 of those are open?
2 of those are open. One is going for a psychological evaluation tomorrow. And I had an applicant that we started in the process, but he hasn't come in for the interview yet.
On the other one?
Yes.
Okay. And so Justin, is that what you're showing? 15 total, but 2 are open and 1 is a deputy and 1 is a sergeant?
Number 6 should have been titled as a sergeant, not a deputy, and I missed that. But the salary is correct.
I reflected that change. And there are, yes, two listed as open positions, 14 and 15. So I think these numbers are accurate. Let me confirm them.
Why is the salary so different on the 2 open positions? Because it's showing them, or it's 1 not certified. Is that the difference?
Oh, one of them was a higher end deputy that left that had 8 years of service. So that had longevity and incentives built into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking on something.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just making a couple minor corrections, and then we can forward, or if you guys have any questions, we can address them. That's good. So we're just where we're at right now is 267, and initially that number was 306, and we were asking for half. So we're a little bit below target.
Okay, so not green, but okay, and then we're saying half would be, what was it, 306, did you say? So roughly 153.
Yes.
So still need to cut like what, 130? Is that right?
I think I need to key in here perhaps what we cut from the one position, but that was allocated to salary, so it's really not much of a net change. And Sheriff, during last commission meeting, there was some discussion of, average vacancies. Can you give us an idea throughout a given year, what your average vacancy rate in open positions might look like?
Well, up until I think the last couple of months, we had been fully staffed, and as people have left, we just haven't replaced. The one that is under the Lear was brought in when I had a sergeant retire, and we brought him in, but we're still paying him out of that grant right now.
Mhm.
So I've only had these two vacancies for 3 months, maybe 90 days.
What did you think about the operational side, Sheriff, as far as the half reduction from and then half from general fund? Did you find any more lines or?
I sent in everything yesterday that we went through line by line. So I'm not sure where we're coming up with. What I had came up with yesterday was 167,000 that we had cut.
Justin, are you seeing that?
Yeah, so I can manually correct that number here. It's gonna right now it's comparing prior year to current year. So I think we had probably had some increases. So right now we're showing about 100,000 less than last year, and it's probably 60,000 that we were going to be increasing. So I can pencil that in at 160, but it's gonna then spread it to the other departments.
So let me just understand this here. The cuts that they are making as of like after the last meeting.
Mhm.
Did you make those in there?
I did.
Okay. And so his number though is still showing that he's not at half.
Right, and that's because only this is just a calculation automatically calculating 100,000 from prior year to the current amount. And he's stating that he cut 160 something thousand from the amount that he was seeing, which was not the prior year amount. We had, I think, budgeted some increases in the initial draft budget. It looks so probably $60,000 in increases in the first draft.
Oh, okay. So I think what Justin is saying is that it's not actually cutting because the budget was increased to begin with. Okay. So Justin, if you can just change that to orange, and then commissioners, you just tell us where to go from here.
There's really two more departments that have, you know, any substantial discussion, which would be VMDC and then roads. So I think we can go to
Me,
yes.
can I just ask one quick question real quick? And this is, I was just thinking in the meantime, within the county manager's budget, half of it's for the assistant and half of it's coming from lodger's tax, right? For the lodger's tax coordinator. And then solid waste is being fully paid out of solid waste, even though they office in this office, right?
Currently.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I was just wanted to clarify on that. Thank you.
So I'll jump into VMDC. So in the previous draft in the Tuesday's commission meeting, we had reflected changes to two open positions or reduction in force. And even with those reductions, we did still have a little over 300,000 remaining to be cut, of which it was the commission's desire to only cut about half. So about 150,000 was the target. I did receive from the warden $36,000 in cuts to operating expenditures. Any further cuts would likely need to come from payroll. So I can pull up, there are two tabs, VMDC, and we can look at corrections next. But I think that 36,000 comes from aggregate of cuts to both funds.
So Justin, can you go and look at the VMDC one? I just want to make sure that that you took off what I was having on mind.
Certainly. So that's up right now. So just let me know if I got it.
Okay, so I'm looking at the vehicle maintenance needs to be taken to 0. Maintenance equipment needs to be taken, hold on, to 3,000. Professional services to 3,000. And by the way, I did go look through all of our stuff on Triadic to see what our trend was. And some of the pricing for that was one time. So that's why we lowered it based on what what we're normally going to spend throughout the year.
Can
And then
you remind me on that before you move forward? You were asking for an increase. What was that intended to be for?
what do you mean?
So I had it at 15,000 here. Oh, that's just a trend. So I'll knock that down to 3,000 where it was.
Yeah.
prior year.
And then the IT go to 9. And that's good on the VMDC side, other than offering to take 2 more positions away.
I think I have the same question for you on the vacancies. The average vacancy rate throughout the year. I think that came up during last meeting, but I'd like to refresh everyone's memory on what was said.
Well, we can take 2 more away, but I can't take anything else away. That's my minimal staffing. I have to keep what I'm keeping. So we can only afford to take 2 more away, which would be 4 total.
Great, thank you.
And then if you want to go back over to corrections, if you go to care of prisoners, we're going to take that to 25. Commissary to 25. And pharmacy to 47. And that's about as low as I can go based on everything that we got to spend monthly throughout the 3 years that,
I think I'm gonna recommend not to reduce commissary just because that's a profit generating line item that does have an associated revenue. You would need to reduce that as well. If
which is, you said not to reduce it?
yes, so I want to, if it's fine with you, move it back to 30,000.
That's fine, but there's no way I can take 5,000 off of anything else. I tried, we looked, there's just no possible way
That's just because we have this
without
revenue.
having to ask for bars.
So you're actually, we're projecting, you're making $20,000 off of that commissary line item.
And I looked, I literally cannot take anything else away. I don't know where we're at. When I projected it, I was good, maybe slightly a little over, but I don't know once you put those numbers in where I'm at.
So let's see, we have the MDC, 288,000. And,
If you take away the two positions, that will take that down by
120,
112,
basically.
something. If you take away two more positions,
we'll check one thing on, so detention center,
it'll be under VMDC.
is a special revenue. I'm sorry, corrections, a special revenue fund. And I believe, let me check if it's in balance. So yeah, that'll help the bottom line because I can now reduce this operating transfer in. So give me 1 second to do that.
Also, when you're doing the projections for this next year on detainee holds, the amount went up by
89 to 1.
$70 per detainee.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? I was doing math.
So our average holds are 10 to 11 detainees a month. And we're charging per day. It was $99.75 and we raised it to $170, and that'll begin July 1st.
So
It's a 70% increase. What line item does that affect?
I'm sorry?
What line item does that impact?
It's just income that comes in for offsite housing. So it'll be detaining holds. Inmate housing, non-county, I'm not sure where they put it.
Okay, so that's a 70% increase to the 400,000. That will help. That'll be in effect the whole year.
yes,
Yes,
starts in July.
it'll actually start in July and it will not go down.
So
It'll
stay
at 170.
It's 280,000 to the bottom line. And I can reduce now. I think I can eliminate the transfer in the detention fund with that. So it's really helping 196,000.
So Justin, wasn't it going from 500 to 680? It was 180 to the bottom line?
I had it at 400, just
Okay.
based on this number here, the projected annualized amount. I think
Okay.
I'm over budgeted in the prior year, perhaps.
Oh, but we know we're not over budgeting now?
If there's a 70% rate increase, I took 400 times 1.7, that comes to 680. So
Okay.
I think that's accurate. That eliminates the 200,000 in transfer in, which will help the general fund budget by 200,000. So let me.
Okay, I have to give a reaction for that one.
Thank you for. That's why it helps for everyone.
Send a little like party hat.
Contracts.
So does that mean I don't have to give my two positions away?
Well, let's check the summary. Let's see where it's at. Oh, he's got to fix the transfers with that. So hold that thought.
Here we go. All right, transfers are in balance. We have 624,000 now as the net deficit, And I have just had to pencil in an amount. I'll just consider operating expenditures for now because I don't have a column for revenues, but I'll give you credit for that. Here.
Wrong way.
Okay. There you go. So that's where we land, which is below the 150 amount that the commission was asking for.
That is before removing two staff positions, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that has not been reflected. We removed 2 on Tuesday, and we have not put in the additional 2 that was in question. Okay. So I'm gonna mark that as green. Okay, so I'd marked all these as green based on discussions in the last meeting for senior citizens, miscellaneous appropriations, vector control, and emergency management. Well, actually, emergency management we can take a look at real quick. I got cuts from that department head yesterday, so I'll show you that now. So there were just a few small cuts. I think it was only $3,000 or so that we were asking for. So a cut to supplies and inventory primarily.
Okay, let's move to roads.
Okay. So I think
Or what was the overage still on the jail first, please?
on the jail, 100, no, where is it? 119,000, 120.
Okay. Thank you. All right, now roads.
On roads department, I'd like to ask Glenn to give us his thoughts as the road department head on the lease situation. I did send out some information yesterday, late afternoon, to everybody. Let me give a high level recap. So we have the 5 graders whose leases are expiring. If they were to be renewed, I have a spreadsheet for this. So let me pull up the spreadsheet. If they were to be renewed,
Can
that
you
would
make it larger, Justin, so we can see what you're looking at?
yes. So I have the new lease cost for those 5 graders would be an analyzed amount of 295,000. Previously, it was 159,000. So from 5 years ago to today, there's been a pretty substantial increase to what they're asking for new graders. So it's $135,000 increase. And it's actually, we're under a little bit on the current budget. It should be 313,000, but we have it at 301. So it's actually an additional 12 that we would need to increase the budget if all new leases were to be renewed for those 5 graders. So that's scenario 1. Scenario 2 is if all the lease purchase options were exercised. So let me explain what we're looking at here. Here are the 4 current lease agreements that I've scheduled out. So we have the annualized amount of 313 that's currently, as of today, the lease payments. And if I scroll to the right, you can see that these 2 are the ones that are maturing. So row 3 and row 5, and they have provided us purchase options. We have quotes. If you wait until the end of the leases in July and September, it would be the 404 and the 248 plus tax of whatever it is, 8 point something percent. If you were to pay them off today, these are the amounts. Well, as of a month ago, these were the amounts. So 705 846 is the total for all five if you were to wait until July and September respectively to purchase those. I did have a discussion with Glenn this morning, and we'd like to float a third option, which is kind of the middle of the road option, where the county were to purchase half of the graders, so 3 graders purchased, and renew 2 more, so you have 3 that are on lease. And the reason for that is there's a lot of open questions about maintenance costs that would need to be incurred if you were then to own the asset. And these assets are 5 years old. That's a little less than half their estimated useful life. They've been doing a lot of work in that time frame, and there's probably going to be some one-time renovation costs to kind of bring them back into good shape, and then there can be recurring maintenance costs each year to just do regular maintenance. And that a lot of that maintenance, because these are John Deere equipment, they have to be done by a licensed John Deere certified professional, whatever they're called. That's how they operate. It is required to do that. So I think at this point, I'll kick it on over to Glenn to add any additional kind of context. But a decision has to be made on this either way, just because one of the 2 leases that are expiring is coming up next in July, so very soon. Do we have Glenn with us?
Yes.
Question, where are each of those machines at as far as hours?
About close to, they're all pretty close to 3,000 hours. Our lease agreement was up to 5. We couldn't go over 5,000.
And I'm not an expert, Glenn, but my Google abilities showed me that they have an estimated useful life of around 12,000 hours.
That's probably pretty close.
10 to 12 maybe.
All of this new equipment, of course, is highly computerized. The road department doesn't have a mechanic. First thing, if we have a breakdown, I just want to make it clear, John Deere, whoever it is with the equipment, they come in, the first thing they do is plug in a laptop to diagnose the problem. There's a lot of electrics. It's like a new car, new pickup. Highly computerized systems on these. I was trying to look at it all angles. I'm trying to look at it worst case scenario. Of course, the weather plays a huge role in the road department. If we have a big snowstorm, if we have heavy rains. As of right now, we have 6 blades. We have 1 stationed in Raton, which goes all the way to Chanchera to the Colorado state line. We have 1 stationed in Maxwell, which does all the Maxwell track. It goes east, quite a few miles east, past the Circle Dot Ranch and that area. And then it goes all the way west to Dawson, the Dawson Road. The Springer blade is stationed there. It does all of Springer track, French track, Miami and Colmar area. There's 1 stationed in the Farley area. The Farley area is I would say the most rural, but it has the biggest amount of mileage to Blade. The Farley area does. It's a pretty big area. The Kiowa, we have one stationed in Kiowa at all times. It does that area. There has been, there's a big deal with the road department is school bus routes. There has been several people in the past that has went to like the Des Moines school in that area that we have to keep certain roads open to the Union County line. We keep one stationed in the Ute Park, mainly Eagle Nest Shop, Eagle Nest, Angel Fire, Black Lake, E-Town area. That is the least amount of mileage far as roads to be maintained, but normally it is the highest percentage of snowfall. And when we have a normal, what I would call a normal winter, we keep a loader in the Eagle Nest shop at all times to help push snow. Normally we have one machine start on one end of the, like in the Black Lake end, another one start in the E-Town end, and open roads till they meet in the middle in Mid-Valley. At times in years past, when it gets bad enough, we have had to pull, like the Maxwell blade is usually the closest, up into the Moreno Valley to help with opening roads in the valley when we have significant snowfall. I just kind of wanted to let you guys know kind of how we operate, where the blades are stationed. We usually try to locate them where we're pretty sure that we can get to them if we do have significant weather. My main concern, I guess I'd have to say, is in case of emergency situation, if we don't, just say we don't have a blade stationed in the Kiowa area, probably the closest one would be Raton. By the time we get equipment there, in a emergency situation, I'm trying to look at it in worst case scenario.
What about your Farley, your Springer blade going out to Farley or that Maxwell one that's, and correct me if I'm wrong, but was there one that stayed on the east side of 25? Could that possibly go down to Farley, even though I know it's a longer amount of road, but it's not, I don't know. I'm just thinking you're able to, I don't know.
Yeah, like I say, the Farley area is it's a big area to open. There's a lot of mainly ranch roads in Farley. People needing to feed. There is certain roads that we open, mail route, of course, we got to keep in mind, and also school kids that go to Springer or Des Moines area that we try to hit, priority far as snow wise. It's a big county. Mary Lou, that's your district. What do you think? Road expert.
Flat tire expert.
Yeah, I understand now. I did look over my operating expenses. We were hoping that we could pull most of the money out of roadway, bridges, culverts, etc. line item. It was my understanding that I guess we can't pull it out of that line item. I don't really know why.
Two different line items, actually.
So, and I'll speak to that real quick. That amount, the 260,000 in roadways, bridges, culverts, has not been included in our calculation for recurring deficit amount because it's a non-recurring expenditure. So it wouldn't flow into our calculated amount and our target for reducing that amount.
I tried to look at it real closely today. I really don't feel comfortable pulling from any line item, maybe the mileage reimbursement, which I know ain't much, and the per diem line item.
Well, I mean, equipment is the big expense. That's obvious, the lease on those machines. And I hate to give up any machine, but I also really hate the fact that we're paying leases on these things. They're fixing to go back and they're 1,500 to 2,000 hours under what they could have been. So we're not running them as much as we can because we don't have operators.
Exactly.
So we're paying for something that we're not using. And as sure as I say that, no, let a blade go back, we're gonna get a 3-foot snow, and then my phone's gonna blow up and say, "Wow, you cut the leases." So,
Yeah.
but we got to do something.
Yep.
I know it may be more road time and stuff on machines or hauling one from here to there, but I mean that's the leases are a huge expense. Do we bite the bullet and buy one?
Exactly. No, I agree. It's very expensive.
I think we could probably get away for several years, maybe. But I mean, I run equipment every day, and anymore, parts are crazy expensive.
Well,
I mean, they'll break you.
yeah, I've got 2 John Deere pusher tractors and a blade at the farm. John Deere green stands for one thing.
That's the nice thing about
cash.
Nice thing about the lease is it's all covered.
Exactly.
And I know these things are even brand new, and it seems like we always have 1 out of the 5 that's broke down.
Yep.
Oh,
Better than cash.
I know in the past I've seen where we had a $43,000 repair bill on a dozer. I mean, that was just one repair bill.
So did we did remove one position the other day, is that correct?
Yeah, the position that was frozen for a year, we removed that position.
So how many?
Correct, Justin?
how many do you have open now? 4?
I have 4 open right now.
How many blade guys do you have?
Right now,
Operators, yeah, or no, just in general? If you were filled today?
6. We have 6 blades.
Okay, 6 blades for 6 people.
Yeah, and like I say, in the winter time, at times we run both loaders as well. My biggest concern, like running loaders, is the tire chains are extremely heavy on a loader, and really, bare minimum, you need 2 guys to help put chains on a loader. They're so heavy.
So what is? This is just my ignorance. What does your guy do up in the valley when he gets caught up with his roads up there if they have the least?
As it's been, we've been so short-handed, we pull them down here and have them blade roads. Wherever we need them, he's been cutting trees. Just wherever we need them, we place them.
I'm just thinking blade to people to.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Are you leaving the blade in place in Merino or transporting it to the other areas?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Are you transporting him and the blade to other areas or changing him to a different blade that's marked?
We don't have enough operators for blades at the moment, so no, we just stick them in a blade where we need them in that area.
Wherever extra blades you got, okay. Yeah.
I did have one incident where we had two blades in the Maxwell area. And I planned on both of them catching up on all the roads in the Maxwell area. And then the Maxwell blade operator had quit with no warning. So I ended up with two blades for a while in the Maxwell area.
So currently we have 3 blade men operating.
Yeah, I have,
Does that include yourself?
right now, let me think.
In case you
Casey, Joe. I have 5, including me,
5 blade men currently.
that can run a blade, yeah. I have one employee that he's not really on a full-time blade, but I can stick him on a blade and he's been on a blade for years. We kind of call him our floater. Wherever we need him, we stick him. That's an operator.
What if we were to turn one back and then search for a little bit older blade that's maybe not quite so electronically centered and look at buying one like that instead and turn back one of the leases?
And that's my thoughts. This new equipment, like I said, we can't really work on that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I say that coming from my own experience and stuff.
Exactly.
I'm buying older trucks, search for a good used one. I've bought older tractors, all the older equipment so that you can still work on it.
I absolutely agree.
So, I mean, that's an option that we could explore, but
Yep.
maybe we turn one back.
And you got one that doesn't operate a blade and you can't, so that's 5.
Well, how much are we needing to cut?
So, it was, I believe, 90,000. Let me pull that
It's
up.
like 88 or 85.
89.
So if we turn back one blade, is that sufficient enough to cover?
Well, the unfortunate response to that is it would be an increase actually to budget. And I'll show you why that's the case. So if we were to eliminate, would it be one of the 670s, not the 672, Glenn?
I would prefer the 670 if we turn one back, not an all-wheel drive.
Even if you eliminate one lease, it's still going to increase the budget by 82,000. So we're going in the wrong direction, but it kind of is what it is.
And I did check.
How did,
Wait a minute.
What?
Yeah. Oh, thank
Because
you.
the new lease costs will be an increase from what they were before on the 5-year leases that are expiring. So if you were to renew all of them, it would increase the budget by 136,000.
So he's saying no matter what, even if we reduce one, it's still an increase overall. It's a shorter increase from. Is that right, Justin?
Right. So you'll save 54,000 off of the $136,000 increase.
But it's still an increase from last year. So like if we get rid of 2, then maybe it's a savings.
That's even then it would still be an increase of 28,000, even if you eliminated two.
It is an increase, but so how many hours short is that if we're not? So we say most of them have 3,000 if we're turning them back. I'm trying to work it backwards to see how many we actually really need.
That'll get pretty close,
years.
it sounds like, to the maxing out their hours. And if you go over hours, there's an extra charge that the SOAR would charge.
Yeah, they penalize you.
Yeah, I understand, but if we get rid of one, how much does that increase per hour on the others?
Yep. Even if you had 4,000 hours, it would add 1,000 hours to each of the remaining four.
Yeah. 1,000 hours for the remaining four, so then we're at 4,000. So really, we could, I know it puts us in the strain, but get rid of two.
I wouldn't get rid of two as big as this county is.
Okay.
And during the summer and everything, you're probably fine. But in the winter, I mean, you look at what we faced when we had that big snow in November already.
Oh, yeah.
And people were, I mean.
Or what if we?
How often does that happen? Is it gonna happen? Could happen every year for the next 5 years and then not happen again for 20, but.
And I don't know if it's worth even considering, and I don't even know how much it would cost. You get rid of two and then you throw in like an emergency RFP out there. So if we do get behind or we do get a giant snowstorm like that, we could call on the contractors to come in and get us over that little bump. I know the state's going to be of no help, but.
And that is one reason why I was afraid to deduct the 12,000 on the line item for professional services. Just in case, if we do get rid of one blade or something like that, we may need that for in case we do have a good storm or something.
So we're over budget 120.
No, 80 some.
80.
We're for the whole deal.
Yeah, for the roads is 80 some thousand.
Oh, that's free
89.
revenue return.
89,000, so 90,000 over. Well, here we go back to the vacancies.
I don't think we can afford not to go ahead and lease the blades. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm thinking we let one go and we freeze another position, because with how much, unless we're gonna do something with those pays, we're not gonna fill it.
So we already let one position go.
That was the frozen one.
Yeah.
So we freeze another one. Reduce the lease. That should be enough of the savings to cover. Is that correct, Justin? Would you think roughly?
Or drop a single blade on the lease.
I can run through the math. So if you didn't renew one of the 670Gs, budget would need to be 395,163.
Why don't we just do it the other way? We'll just do how much it is for the lease and then reduce one employee. One open position. So what was the lease number? 56,000?
Correct.
54,000.
54,000.
The other one was.
And then what's a operator position that's open?
Thank you.
I see two open positions, one for 50,
It could be 4.
well, each one has the same base salary but different benefits. So it really depends on what benefits they participate in, but it's either a savings of 52,000 or 60,000, depending.
Let's go with, split the lower 52. If we add 52,000 to 54,000 roughly, that's our 100 right there. So that's giving us a $10,000 surplus that we could add in the 12 back into the professional service contract.
And I would put back at least 100,000 for culverts and that.
Yeah.
Coming
Yeah,
out of
that's a
capital.
one-time
I know,
expenditure. Yeah,
but it
that's
needs to
fine.
go back in there.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Well, it's not being factored into that deficit. It shouldn't be anyways. Since it's a one-time.
When I get in the new salary amounts, with reducing the one open position. So give me a second.
Sure. Thank you. I don't know, is the commission okay with that?
I am.
Yeah, just zero the position and freeze it. Drop these. Yes. I'm fine with that. Or not really, but yeah, I'm fine.
Or with that extra savings, instead of getting the we upgrade one lease to be a all-wheel drive, so we have an extra all-wheel. And that's that $10,000 difference.
Different, Joe.
And that'd be if we get stuck in a snowstorm. How many?
It'd be nice to have one all-wheel on this side of the hill, one on the other side.
I have one here in Raton, and of course the other one is in the Moreno Valley.
Yeah, I knew the Moreno Valley.
It seems like we've had a lot of difficulties in the Kiowa, especially the Farley area. The way the wind blows, it's so flat out there. And we've had a hard time getting through without an all-wheel drive or a loader in that area at times.
I think that'd be the better route to go.
Here again, we're
I would support that.
okay.
You may not need them
But I-
very often, but when you need it, you need it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we they transported, excuse me, Moreno Valleys over there and we're still pounding sand, so to speak.
So Justin, did you catch that there?
So instead of 2 all-wheel drives, you want to upgrade one to have a third?
Yeah, so leave all the other numbers as the same, and the only thing we're gonna touch is we're gonna freeze one operator position at the 50-some thousand. And then we're gonna drop one lease, and then make one of the other ones an all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Bigger one.
Okay, so I updated that in the calculations here. So I converted this one to the all-wheel drive.
Okay. Thank you.
I eliminated this one, so the projected lease cost is for 108,000 as a result. So it is an increase. It was at 301 at the beginning of the day here, which was under budgeted. So it is higher than where we started. Just
in the past, we did have blade leases, 7-year blade leases. I haven't got the figure if we went to 7-year. I don't know if it'd make enough difference or not yearly to help out or not. In the next day or so, I should have that figure. We did that in the past, but we found out that there's seemed to be a huge maintenance cost between the 5th year and the 7th year. So we went to the 5-year instead of the 7-year lease.
So with those 2 cuts, Justin, where does that put us on budget
with roads?
So roads is at 137. That's up from 89.
Oh, we went the wrong way.
It's up.
Did you factor in the eliminating or freezing of that one position?
I did.
And we went up?
Yes, sir, because the old leases that were 5 years old at this point were at a much lower rate than having to renew them.
Okay. So either way, it would be up just because of the leases.
Yeah, and it's mostly because that number was inaccurate. I was not aware that the leases were needing to be renewed.
So we were more over budget than what was shown.
No, I think that we just, in projecting for FY 26, we just weren't aware that the leases, some of were expiring, which would then lead to a higher cost in FY 26. So the original budget that we had estimated and put together didn't include those increases for those potential new leases.
Okay.
Or renewals. I guess I should put it as a renewal.
Well, I don't think we could touch roads anymore.
Now,
Back up to see them all together.
37.3. So.
May I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh,
Go ahead.
So I don't know if it can happen or if it's possible, but you know, it's really sad that people might have to lose their jobs or go somewhere else. Is it possible for me to utilize the two that I have that I was going to give up anyways to reflect the final budget so that people don't lose their jobs?
My only thing is people will probably lose jobs anyways. And I worry about the jail's already at a critical point too. That's just my opinion.
I appreciate what you're trying to do,
Yes.
Gordon. I appreciate it very, very much. In being a team player.
Blow us up again, Justin.
Uh,
That help, Sheriff.
I can't see him.
Which one are you looking for?
And just let me know if you want to look at a particular department.
Could you pull the sheriff's back up, please, on the summary part?
So sheriff's is this row right here.
You want, I'm sorry. Can you go to line O, please? Thank you, Warden.
Online. It looks like on your add back, you added it back 15,000. Shouldn't that be 135,000?
To that 3,000 and
Sheriff, I believe that so some of that was offset by increases in salaries in other areas, but you know, I'm open to looking at this number here. We compare, it was 1.7 in the prior year. Now we're at 1,649. So it's a decrease of 69,487. I can input that number.
Thank you. You're at 9.
No. I can't look anymore.
So that add back, was that the sergeant position that was added back in or deputy? I guess I'm confused on that, Justin.
It's the right now it's the net change from prior year to current year in salaries, and it's the deputy position offset by certain increases in other salary positions.
Meaning like the incentives and stuff like that, is that what you're?
Yes, I believe there were some changes to certain other lines such as incentives, if I recall.
Okay.
When you go to the SOs tab, Justin, does it show us at the bottom there like a net decrease or increase? Do you think that one's updated or not yet?
We have it's at 92% of the prior year amount. I don't have it as a dollar amount right now.
Okay, no, it's okay. I just kind of wondering if that would give us an idea of the percentage cut.
And I think it's pretty reasonable that I exclude health insurance because I didn't include that in other departments. So it's 2135. I can add that to that amount as well, just to be as accurate as possible here.
Because their insurance went down.
Everybody's insurance went up 20%, and that wasn't included in cuts, for example, in column O for any department. So it's fair to back that out in the number calculated there.
Oh, will the health insurance increase? It's still impacting the bottom line.
Right, but
I mean, it's still part of the
departments, that
budget.
calculation, it's not included in the calculation for any other departments.
I guess I'm just saying if we look at like the income and expense for each department, it's in there. I mean, it's because it has to be shown in there. But you're talking about
Just in the way we're allocating the departments.
Where are we at on our total? This is about the same, 624. Okay. Well, should we take a quick break here? I'm not hearing the commission.
I just need a break, 5 minutes. All right. Y'all do whatever you do with the numbers. Take 5.
Okay, sounds good. We'll be right back.
We'll go back into session. What time?
5:41.
Okay, 5:41. What'd you come up with? Yeah.
I think we're sitting still at about 624. Is that right, Justin? Yeah, 624.
Yes.
We're still 624,000 over budget.
Right.
What are we waiting on to move forward?
Do what, sir? I'm sorry.
What are we waiting on to move forward?
Just looking again. Okay. I show the assessors still over 120,000, treasurers over 80,000.
Those numbers are different.
Okay, that's all changed again.
Don't.
They keep changing.
It changed because it goes off a percentage of the deficit. When you change the.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
but it
That's,
should have went off of what the original was and
shoulda
not
went
every time
off
we
of-
change it.
yeah, I disagree with that completely. It was back up again. So off the new projection, clerks are 10, assessors 114.5, treasurer 71, and the sheriff's in jail.
I think the sheriff's office only has about 50 some thousand left because the goal was just to get to half of the 306. So, that's not, at least it's not as bad as it looks right there.
No, it's not.
Got two from the assessor's office and show me what the figure is.
Chairman Todd had a question.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sorry,
sir.
I didn't see you, Thomas.
So just thinking off the top of my head, what is the negative to taking out an additional 600,000 from the emergency fund to float us for another year? So I'm questioning why the need for the complete adjustment right now, in the immediate, instead of making the large cuts we've already made, take another 600 out of the emergency fund, get us through another year, and we can look at further adjustments.
I can speak to that.
Ours,
My
go
opinion.
ahead.
And I'll just give you my opinion. I can't speak on behalf of my other commissioners. We've done this for prior years. We've continued to pull. Last year was 1.2 million. We keep pulling. We're going to have a deficit next year either way. We have three departments on the verge of collapse right now. We have the jail, the sheriff's, and the roads. We are going to have to step in even after this and pull from reserves to keep the jail from collapsing, keep the roads and keep the sheriff. The sheriff had to refuse service to a judge the other day because he didn't have the manpower to do so. And the thing is, it will take 20 years of the county going through 3% property increases. You know, and if we continue to pull, we still need to see through the next 20 years at running a deficit for the next, unless we get a boom to the economy. But with the average population of Colfax County being 65 to 75, the average lifespan of a male being 72, we're going to see in the next 10 years a dramatic decrease in the population of Colfax County unless something changes. And so that's a foreseen factor in my mind that the county will see a further decrease in property tax. And if there were, for instance, to be a fire, my biggest fear in the county is a fire in the Moreno Valley. A large part of our revenue comes from the Moreno Valley. We're no longer being assessed on improved property. We're assessing a $5,000 lot. Now, those are scenarios that are like worst case scenario, but I just see if we continue to pull from reserves, this is going to continue to go. And if we don't adjust the reoccurring funds, we've already adjusted operational expenditures as much as we possibly could. It's not operational expenses will probably most likely just increase next year. I doubt they'll be flat. So we'll be still at a larger deficit next year if we don't take action to cut today. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't like anything we're doing, Thomas. This is not what I ran for office for. Tuesday and today is probably the worst day I've had here. I'd done it in corporate. There's a lot of difference because I go to the assessor's office, the treasurer's office, your office. There's a lot of good people working. And I don't like anything we're doing today, but in my opinion, there's no choice. The last 5 years that I've checked, they've been pulling from reserves, and it's been on a steady downslide. A lot of it in the last couple of years. We won't even go into that. Due to the shortage of employees and return of some funds, we've skated through this year. And to be honest with you, my ignorance, I thought we were in better shape until we started getting projection numbers. And I don't see we have any choice left. Even at that, from what I've calculated and from what's going to occur, we're still going to have to pull $500,000 out of reserves. And do what, sir?
I was going to say that's probably after these cuts.
Yeah, and that's after these cuts. This is, I wish I could raise a magic wand. I planned on several things, but they were mythological, evidently. Yeah. Yeah. I know. So. Commissioner Kern, anything further?
I think you both summed it up. We went through this one time before, several years ago. And it was as ugly then as it is now. It's not ever something you want to do. Different makes me sick.
Yeah.
It does make me physically ill, but as an elected official with financial fiduciary responsibility, I just don't see any other way.
I've been getting up at 3:30 every morning, and I've been working this, your office, his office, her office, the warden's. I even called Campos and the governor's office and trying to see if there was some extra funds somewhere. And of course, normal bureaucratic, we'll get back to you, but it's kind of late in the day to go begging, for lack of better words.
So, yeah, I agree with everything you said. It's just, I'm wondering if even looking at a phased approach over the next 2 years, so even if we are cutting personnel now, we cut half the anticipated number that's already been discussed. The departments that are looking to lose two instead cut one this year. Get them through the next year, giving time for each of the offices to adjust. But the fact that you make huge drastic cuts instantaneously, my concern is the number of offices that aren't going to be able to adjust properly to that. Follow that up with something really bad happening in the county and we're sunk.
Yes, sir. I understand exactly what you're saying, and yes, sir. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Tom.
And yeah.
Commissioner Trujillo, Mr. Chair. I was curious if the approach in the past was, it was similar to that maybe, but just a little more hidden in that they did a, well, not hidden, that's not the right word, but I mean, a different angle. It's that they did the hiring freeze, or you all did the hiring freeze and the manager's office did the hiring freeze. Is that right? Is that how they kind of cut the positions down a little bit at a time?
That is
No,
correct.
Yeah, that was,
no, we did the layoff and then the hiring freeze.
Well, the layoff was before our time, yeah.
yeah, before my time, but
But last year, yes, it was the hiring freeze to reduce expenses overall.
Okay. And then Justin, can you tell us the dollar amount that is for the non-recurring expenses that are already going to be using up reserve? I think we had that calculated separately out. I just want to revisit that number real quick here. This looks like general fund was the 366. And how about special revenue? That had some down there too, didn't it? About 150. Seems like it was a little more, but yeah.
half mil.
So we are eating into cash balance with those, but they are necessary purchases from what we heard at the first workshop meeting, like IT and some software and vehicles and
So
and
all
then
in,
also the Mr. Chair, you mentioned about, seeking alternative funding sources, and I think that that's really good too. If that does come to fruition, grants or anything, we can always do bars during FY26.
yeah. So, oh, sorry, I was just gonna ask. Even so, just from what we have with special revenue, one-time expenditures and general fund expenditures, what was the dollar amount?
For the non-recurring,
Yes,
that's
not recurring total.
using up cash, it's the 150 plus 366
So 366, 500 and what?
and 150,000.
150,000. Okay. I'm just trying to
516, 500 between the two.
516, 500. Thank you, Justin. So we're already pulling $500,000 from reserves.
Yep.
And then our deficit outside of that currently is now what?
I
So-
think we're at 624.
So an extra 624,000. Justin, what's that plus the 516? Sorry.
1.342.
1.342 million out of cash reserves.
Yep.
And then
Didn't get any better.
It seems pretty consistent with the pattern in the past.
it has,
Yeah.
but the thing is, we've, I don't know if that's true or not, but we've tried to save over the last year and it hasn't, well, I guess maybe it's occurred, but the cost of everything else has increased.
Mhm.
You know, and looking at this and I know it's not happy or good. And this is just thinking out loud and not necessarily a recommendation right now, but we're at 1.342 coming out as is. If we cut one from the clerk, one from the treasurer, two from the assessor, I don't know how it is to cut the half from the manager's office, since it's a half lodger's tax, half county manager. That reduces it down to, that's a reduction. And this is a rough estimate. I don't know dollar amounts exactly. That's 288,389. I mean, that gets us closer to at least 1 million pulling from reserves and not including the extra 500,000 we'll have to pull for propping up those other departments that are on the verge of collapse.
What?
Yeah.
You talking an additional one from the clerk?
So I'm saying, no, I'm saying if we, so go ahead.
Or you talking an additional one from those departments or one that they've already given?
No addition. Because those are already those are, and the managers is not over, but I'm saying I'm willing to take from that to help the overall general fund. Because you got those departments are the ones that are over. Still. I mean, maintenance gave up one already. I'm just saying, I know a lot of everyone's already given up one. Commissioners, I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, that still puts us a little bit below what we pulled last year from general reserves, taking that out. I mean, we could ask them if they're interested in seeing those numbers. I mean, it's going to put a strain on every office. Yeah. But at that point, instead of pulling the one that pulls, that's the commission pulling 1 million from reserve. Still 1 million from reserve. That's more than 500,000 that I wanted to. And then if we do have to go back in and help the jail, help the sheriff and help the roads, we're looking at another 500,000. So that's 1.5. And then minus our reserves, and then it's going to be a deficit next year. And the year after that. And the year after that.
One thing, kind of just thinking of like next year, how you were saying, I know the Tiger grant doesn't close till September, so we can't really, and it's not recurring or anything. But you know, that's going to be, if we still get it and you know, everything goes according to plan and it closes in September and we have that money, that's like 3.7, maybe even 3.9 million there, you know, towards next year. And I know it's not recurring, but it's a little something to consider if we're trying to cut so much this year for next year, you know.
But at our current burn rate, even if we were to not do that, the Tiger Fund would last us at like a year and a half, maybe if we're lucky. And that's already factored into our cash reserves, I believe. Yeah. Cause it is in there, we're just not using it. And Audrey could correct me if I'm wrong, but.
No, you're correct.
Yeah. And I see it for deficit for this foreseeable future till unless there's an economic change where building is being occurred in Colfax County. Cause that's, I mean, it's property tax, right? Yep. And we're limited on the 3% per year.
I just want to add maybe one thing that came up in Tuesday's meeting was the extra 1/8. Perhaps we can anticipate that amount. Maybe not in this budget, but in the final budget. There is a 1 year delay in receiving that amount though. So it wouldn't factor into FY26, but you can still in your head think about, the deficit going forward.
And that would, so that'd be roughly $300,000 that we could pull in on that 1/8 public safety. And that would have to go, and be honest with you, by the time we do that, if we do the 1/8, which is something I support, by the time that factors in, I mean, it will help soften the pull from, I don't know if it could be shared between the jail and the sheriff, but what's that? I would say. Well, I'm just saying, yeah. I mean, but our biggest thing is the state of New Mexico right now. The state of New Mexico is what's hurting Colfax County with the sheriff's department. You can go be a state police and get 90,000. Glenn, I don't know what, you can go to the highway department, make 28 with the CDL.
26, 28.
Yeah, warden, you can go down to Springer, make 26 an hour. Why wouldn't you? I would.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the state doing it because this is what we live in today. But that 300,000, yes, I mean, we could factor that in for future, but I mean, it's not going to be a rounding error for a decade. You know what I mean?
Justin, cut 2 from the assessor's office, 1 from the treasurer, see the number. Warden, with all due respect, can I cut 1 from you, but leave it in place, zeroed out? We revisit this for final budget in July. But we got to do something for now. Huh? Could be into July. But
July 1.
or July 1. Yeah, excuse me. I apologize. July 1. But we got to get something turned in now. And that gives us 2 more meetings to try to figure this out. And so that's where I'm going unless there's any argument.
So what was your?
2 from the assessors, 1 from the treasurer, a half from the manager's office.
But there's a
Freeze 1 of the wardens, zero it out, leave it in place. That still gives her 1 more fallback.
I would say remove 1 from the clerk.
They've already gave up one.
We've already
given it. And so the house maintenance. We gave up and consumed what was in the manager's office.
Yeah, but I'm just saying you're decimating the treasurer's office.
Not by choice.
Yeah, but you're still leaving your individual within the clerk's office.
Do those calculations.
I don't, the previous commission had voted not to have any part-time positions. So how are you going to do away with a half a position in the managers?
Well, he just recommended get rid of the half, and I don't know how to do it. So
we're going to have to move the whole one way or the other.
So I don't know what happened.
And I still
budgeted at half.
Yeah, but what position you going to budget at half?
I don't know.
See, that's
and I think for right now, we leave it right there. We turn this in as our interim. And if we have to have 2 meetings a week between now and the end of June to get this ironed out, we do it.
It says there's one detention, 433,000. Where does that put us?
Justin, can you subtract the 624 and the 433 out of there so we know where we're at?
Oh, okay, there.
The
Yes,
624 is before these 3 cuts, which would achieve 191,000 in additional cuts. The 433 is the resulting amount of the deficit in the general fund.
Oh, that's the okay, so we're at 433.
The recurring deficit, yes.
and we're still at 433. 34.
And you have those fully loaded, right, Justin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, straight off the last column in the salaries.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, why do you not want to cut from the clerks?
Because we already have.
I can confirm we've already included one cut to the clerk's office. So from 6 to 5 full FTEs.
So the treasurer's still 30,000 over, but he ain't got nothing. Good, I can see. So eat that.
And Commissioner, I did send the email just with my 2 ideas of, activity-based decisions on staffing, and maybe you've already been through this in the past, but we're happy to look at similar sized counties and put together numbers for departments, or take a look at, for example, number of calls or number of transactions being processed every day, or number of prisoners, or whatever it is that could be activity related, that might help in your decision before the final budget. Will assist you in any way that we can.
So right there between the two, we're still $1 million out for the year. Between the other and this line.
Yes.
So what was that amount though?
433,057. Correct? I am looking at the right line.
Right.
Yes.
433,57.
Yeah. 433,057.
So Justin, mind doing plus the 516,550. So that's 900 and.
Yeah, it's $1 million. Might as well say with incidentals, probably
Right.
over 949,607. Okay. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Like I said before, it's not gonna make a huge difference, but I've done my calculations on how many I need day and night. And you also have me, the deputy warden, and my operational lieutenant. So if need be, you can take that other one. I have the calculations. If I stick to the 20, which is the 2 extra that I do have at the moment, it'd be lovely to have it. But I'm good with the 5, so if it's needed, take it. And if I have to have it later, depending on ADP, then I can bring it.
Pardon the expression. I feel like we're raping and robbing you now.
Well, at the moment, what can we do? I mean, the 1 extra is not gonna help me with my short staffing.
Go ahead and
it's not gonna-
zero one more on the warden, frozen. Do not delete it. So we can reinstate needed immediately. At the warden's request, and I don't like it.
Sorry, we didn't catch that, Mr. Chair. I think the mic is off.
No. The delete a second from the detention center or freeze it with 0 and that way it's reinstatable in a hurry. I don't want to delete it.
Okay.
I added that just to our quick calculations here. So that brings it to 364 recurring and 880,000 total general fund deficit.
364 and 880.
So Audrey, I would request if you could look at counties that are similar sized, like, what was it, Lincoln County?
Yeah.
It's real similar to us. See department numbers. That could help us compare to, and I guess I'd like to know if they're in as bad fiscal shape.
Mhm.
Or I guess I would like to look at a county that is in decent fiscal shape of similar size and what their staffing requires are.
Okay.
Give
I'm
me
on it.
Give me one more rundown, please, ma'am, on what each department is still over after that, if you would, please.
Okay, so clerk's office is that small amount, the 10,351 over. Justin, you'll have to help me here. We need to take the 114 minus the 2 below is just a little bit. What is that? $16,000 or something?
Where are we at?
Yeah, 16,000 for assessors over. Treasurer's office would be about 20, 25 over. SO is still about 50,000 over.
Hey, hang on just a second. You're faster than I am.
Okay.
Okay, now after the treasurer, sorry.
The sheriff.
Let's see here. After the treasurer is about 25, the sheriff's office is about 53,000, somewhere around there.
Okay,
And then roads, Justin, can you scroll down? Just make sure. So roads is over 145, let's call it.
5,000, okay. All right. Commissioners, anything further at the moment?
No, like I said, I
You what, ma'am?
think we just get this turned in for now and
And
roll
go
up,
back to
we
work.
roll up our sleeves over the next month.
I would agree. Commissioner Trujillo?
That's fine. The only way we're gonna roll up our sleeves is cut more
Yep.
position. But I don't see how we can. I mean,
I don't either.
I guess we'll hear from Audrey and see what she could find as far as similar county staffing. But yeah, I'm fine with it for now.
I think what you'll find is most of them are staffed higher than we are currently.
Yeah. Well, they have, Riados or Lincoln County has a higher revenue.
What's that? Oh, yeah.
Yes, yes.
I did ask DFA if they have those statistics. I don't think that they do. So it might just take a little bit of homework of at least calling a few and finding out. And if they're not willing to share, I'll IPRA it and hopefully get it within the 3 to 10 days. So yeah, it should be fairly easy to put together, but I also agree it's definitely going to be, driven by the revenue. So
Well, Audrey, if you could get me the counties, I'll reach out to those county managers and
okay.
request.
Sure, yeah, that would be great. Do you think that your association tracks all of that, or possibly your insurance pool tracks that?
I'd assume the insurance, well, I don't know if they divide it down.
I asked Danielle to ask those particular counties that you had named. I asked her to reach out to their payroll clerks through the
Oh, okay.
affiliate and to see if we could get that information. I asked her to do that yesterday. I did go online and look at some of the counties. Some of them had all of their staff listed on their websites. Not all of them did.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to do that too. I was looking for the different offices and some had more than others listed on the website. So yeah, definitely. Okay, great. So let's hear from Danielle on that as soon as we can. I'll hold off requesting anything then.
Yeah, the thing about Lincoln County too is their revenue is quite a bit more than ours.
I can tell you what they got. You know,
Do what, ma'am?
they have.
Okay,
Lincoln has 12 in their assessors, 6 in the treasurers, 8 in the managers, and 7 in the clerks.
yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Sierra County was close to your population, right?
They should be, yes.
Should be.
I did not check them.
Okay. Oh, there's the population, yeah. And of course, the area matters because that impacts roads and law enforcement.
Yep.
But
Looks like Torrance is pretty similar in both population and area.
Torrance. Yeah, it is. We're doing some work over at Torrance, so I can call Misty and find out her numbers.
6 in the treasurer, 11 in the assessors, 5 in the managers, 5 in the clerks.
Is that Torrance?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm
you say it again?
sorry, I wasn't listening. I apologize. I was.
6 in the treasurers, 11 in the assessors, 5 in the managers, 5 in the clerks.
All right.
Basically, we're
Yeah.
half and one short.
The only out of the ordinary revenue that I know of that they have is their HILT money on the wind farms.
Oh.
So I know for Torrance that helps them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so Mr. Chair, I think we just need a motion and a vote, and then that gives us the permission to submit this as the interim budget.
Okay, call for motion.
I make a motion to submit the interim budget as was our the final draft that we came up with today, recognizing the deficit and pulling that from reserves. As interim only.
Interim only, yeah.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Kern,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Chairman Tatum.
Yes. Okay, last action of business is executive session. Action on the jail, Be Hill Maldonado, on raises for the guards in order to retain them. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, if I could suggest,
Yes.
I don't, unless we're planning to implement this immediately, why don't we put this off until the next regular meeting? We can deal with it then. I think everybody's tired right now.
Yeah, commissioners,
I'm good with that.
okay,
Sure.
okay. So move it to the next regular meeting. Any other discussion? Any other motions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I would suggest that maybe we not even wait until the next meeting because it's what, the 10th? When's our next meeting?
Don't have a count.
It is the 10th.
10th,
Which I would say no, because if you're gonna do payroll.
yeah.
All right, no, that's not that long.
Okay,
Sorry. Thank you.
so
And
hang on. So wait until next meeting or go ahead and do it so she can try to say what she's got or what?
I understand wanting to wait and everything, but if we're gonna take action on it, I just assume we take action now.
Do it and get it over with.
And the action would take place in the open session.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think we need to take action now. It saves time and stress on what's already stressful in within the whole county.
Yeah.
So do we need to go meet in closed session? Or
We've already had closed session and
so
did it, so I'd make a motion, we approve it. Approve the warden and the jail increase now.
Effective
the second payroll in June.
June 15th.
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
Second, roll call. I'm sorry, did you get that, Clerk?
Hold on.
I know we ricocheted you.
Okay.
And just we need to make a friendly amendment to that. In my opinion, it needs to come out of general fund because we don't have that money anywhere else.
Correct.
So we need to probably have a motion stating that
Okay.
we'll approve the salary increase estimate from Warden Slade. And the funds to come out of general fund.
Okay. That will be the officers only, or guards only. Whatever you care to call them. Officers. Okay, roll call with friendly amendment.
Commissioner Kern,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Chairman Tatum.
Yes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
do we have that listed somewhere or can the warden get that to us?
You'll get it.
It's coming right now to you.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then this means that we should factor this into the FY 26 budget increase, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we will
Oh.
make that change also.
Okay.
And for the record, Justin, I want to make sure that there's no confusion for the minutes, so I want you to print to PDF this budget that was approved with the vote. Exactly how it was, okay? And then for this raise that they're sending, print that with the budget exactly how it was that they voted on. And
Yes.
those two documents are gonna be sent with the minutes. Because I do recall last year, there was some confusion because whatever the commission had voted on, there was no copy of what they voted on. So we just really need to make sure that we preserve exactly what they voted on, okay?
Audrey, I would like a copy of what we just voted on sent to each of us and every department head so they can review it and we can re-review it to prepare for our next meeting.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. There's nothing further. I would move to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Kern,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo, Chairman Tatum.
Yes.